tell us about how your musical journey began?
Yeah. So I started playing trumpet in a mariachi, an after-school mariachi program when I was in middle school. So I was 14. And I kind of felt at the time that in a way I was behind because a lot of people who start playing instruments will start when they're really little, like maybe practicing, I don't know, violin or even piano or something since they were maybe 6 or something. But I started a little bit later. So I started playing. I picked up the trumpet because actually trumpet wasn't my first instrument. Technically, my first instrument was the clarinet when I played in like fourth grade band in school. But nothing really, I didn't really stick with it because I entered the mariachi program in middle school. And that's when I really kind of started taking music a little bit more serious and I started practicing every day. I started learning, to read music and memorize music. That's how it began. And then after I got some experience performing and just felt like I was ready for a little bit more, I went to the school in the San Fernando Valley with Mariachi Los Camperos. It's called Mariachi Master's Apprentice Program, which is a really great program to sort of transition into. It's a student group, a student show group, which was a really good way for me to sort of segue into a more professional group, which is something that I always wanted to do. I never thought it actually possible, or I never really thought that I would get there when I was initially, starting mariachi. I just kept with it, and one thing led to another, and going to the conferences while I was with Mariachi Tesoro at MAP really helped me. Really helps sort of motivate me a lot to just keep going and to keep always just getting better at the instrument and mastering the craft and the style of mariachi. So like the Albuquerque conferences, the Tucson conferences, I grew up going to those, as did my compañeros here. I'm sure you can ask them about that as well.
Speaking of your compañeros, can you guys introduce yourselves and your instruments? And your guys' instruments, please.
Hi. Okay. Hi, my name is Yamila de la Rosa, and I'm one of the trumpet players for Mariachi Reyna de Los Angeles. This is my section leader right here.
Hi, my name is Jose Perez, and I play vihuela for the Mariachi Sol.
Okay, and can you guys also tell us about how your musical journey began?
Okay. Well, I'm from Texas. I just moved here about exactly a year ago. So I started off going down the classical route. I played trumpet throughout there, and I did classical music up until I was a junior in high school. And I had a director that was just, the Mariachi program needed some developing some trumpet players, and I remember he would go to like marching band rehearsals, and I was then after all pestering, I finally said yes. And then I remember I heard Sol de Mexico and Reinas for the first time my senior year of high school, and I fell in love and I became so obsessed. And since then, I just graduated with my music degree in trumpet performance. And yeah, I've just been doing mariachi ever since then.
I first started playing a little bit before I entered middle school. My tia and my mom had played mariachi in high school. And so when I was getting ready to go into middle school and going into the program, I was going to be learning from the same teacher that taught my family. And before that, I had some guitar lessons with my tia. I wasn't really into it. I was a little bit more into rock music and some other types of music. And eventually, I did something really bad and I got grounded. I don't think I've ever said this before. It was really, really terrible, and I got grounded. And the only thing that I had in my room was like my guitar. And so I would just kind of come up with little melodies, or like try to remember, the intro to so-and-so, TV show, or like just like little bitty themes here and there. It just kind of like sparked my love for learning things and kind of, learning things by ear, coming up with things. And I went through middle school, high school, ended up graduating, going to UTRGV, and through UTRGV, we were able to travel, accompany a lot of artists, and have a lot of really cool opportunities. Eventually, I was able to record with Jose, and I think, maybe in that session, he kind of saw something that he could work with. And so when the time spot, I came to LA and yeah, I ended up, after a couple of years, I ended up joining Sol on Vihuela, and yeah, I've been here for 8 years, so.
Can you guys please tell us what inspired you to get involved in mariachi?
Interestingly enough, maybe similar to kind of like the stories that you've heard, it wasn't necessarily that I was inspired. It's sort of like, in a way, it chose me, or it chose us, or it sort of we fell in love with it almost accidentally. Because in a similar way, like Yamila was sharing, I never necessarily thought of or wanted to be in a mariachi, but it sort of came into my life because and then she started going to these classes, and then I just wanted to go check it out, and then I saw like they were doing solfeo, and I saw like what it was and how like in like how much skill actually goes into, you know, becoming a mariachi, and I thought I want to do that. And then when I saw actually them perform, like the student group perform, I was like, wow, like I want to do that. I want to be on a stage. Like that looks amazing, right? That looks spectacular. And I've always been somebody that just really enjoys challenges. So when it comes to anything, like if you like challenge me with it, I want to, I don't know, that excites me, you know. So I was attracted to it because I saw that it was a challenge, and I like challenges. And then it ended up in a lot of ways becoming part of my identity because, you know, when you're in middle school, you're still figuring out like who you are, and like, you know, like you're figuring out yourself, your identity, whatever your style. And in a lot of ways, it pulled me to my roots, to my Hispanic and my Mexican roots, and it led me to that. So I became closer to my family members, like my abuelitos and my parents. And you know, I remember the first time I was like telling my abuelito, like I was like, abuelito, do you know this song? And you know, it was like a song by Jose Alfredo Jimenez, and he was like, how do you know that song? You know, like, you know, 2 generations down from him. So it was a really great way for me to connect just with my culture and keep it alive, and just it brought a lot of pride for me in being Mexican, and in just like a part of my identity. So yeah.
So I was a musical snob, so I was very a part of that mentality for a while, very closed, that mariachi wasn't real music. There was always this stereotype against mariachi musicians, and I would compete at a bunch of classical trumpet competitions that playing mariachi is whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. But I remember, I'm sure maybe a few of you have heard the 34th anniversary Mariachi Sol de Mexico album. I heard 35th, 35th. I heard Masaya do jazz and classical, and I heard this, and I remember I was crying. I remember a friend tried to tell me, like, there's no way that this is like actually mariachi music. Like it's very, the chords, everything, and then I listened to it again. And because I come from a family of musicians, I'm the 3rd trumpet player, and so music's been in my family forever, and I fell in love with it. And I remember I got to see Sol de Mexico, I think it was your 2nd year? I don't know, 2nd year. So you weren't there yet, yeah, you weren't there yet, yeah. I was in high school, I went to go see Sol, and I was just crying the whole time, and then I became very obsessed. I actually went to the same university that Pepe went to for a couple years, and there's if you guys are looking for a really great collegiate program to go and pursue mariachi, I definitely recommend. Side note, looking into UTRGV. That's where Mariachi Estelan is from. Other members, it's in Texas, but Pepe, myself, Carlos, Nathan, a few people, we all got, you know, we got this kind of discovered there. That's where Jose found us all at some point. Fun fact, Samantha and I were supposed to play in a group together at 18 and we didn't talk for years, and we did a full circle and we ended up here. But honestly, it just inspired me was that the feeling that and I would look around. I remember the first concert I went to, I would turn around. There were so many other people that were either crying, like abuelitos, abuelitas, relatives, like all the memories that this music brought them. And kind of like what Samantha was saying, I remember when I was like writing my paper, just said, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do exactly what Jose Hernandez does. Like I want whatever comes out of my instrument, the other side of the bell, I wanted to inspire as many people as it's done for me. And it completely changed my whole life. Before this, I was going to go and try to win an orchestral job and do work or whatever to study. But I was like, no, I want to do mariachi. Like I have to do this. Like I have not felt this way about something in so long. And since then, I've been in a long-term committed relationship with mariachi. That's what I've been up to.
I think at first I really, like I had mentioned before, I wasn't really into it. I wasn't really like wanting to pursue, I knew my mom, some of my family, they had like a little band, like a gospel music band, and they would play, and I wasn't really into it. And it really took me just kind of falling in love with the music. It like once you do it, just like everything becomes that. That's kind of like a recurring theme, and a lot of the musicians that we work with Yamila and Sam, is that you just kind of fall in love with the music, and everything, all of your focus, all of your attention, all of your you just put everything into it. That's the most gratifying feeling. And so I love to make my mom proud, or I love to make my parents proud, my grandparents. It really, really feels good. But at the end of the day, I guess I do it because it makes me feel good. I do it because it's gratifying to me. And yeah.
Fulfilling, I would say, is
Yeah,
like a
that's-
good word.
that is.
It's very fulfilling, like to the soul, to play music. And like Jose has said this before, it feels like you're eating candy, when you're on stage and you're locked in with like all your bandmates. Once you feel that feeling, it just feels like you're flying. So.
And playing with groups such as Sol and Reyna, oh my goodness, it's incredible. The level of musicianship, I remember my first rehearsal, after I got out of rehearsal, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to come every week and rehearse. And right now we've been all doing joint rehearsals because we're getting ready for our big on September 20th. We're doing a heritage piece. It's the first annual.
Yeah, it's a
Benefit Concert Heritage Foundation.
Some new arrangements are coming out from Jose. We've been getting ready for that, and it's been incredible. The level of musicianship that we have, it's incredible, very fulfilling.
Was there any teacher, mentor, or musician who had a really big impact on you? I know you guys have said Jose Hernandez, but anyone else?
I would say, I would definitely say a big role for me personally, because I went to his, when I was in high school, he was the director of our student group, like I mentioned, and he's a super sweet guy, and really, really knowledgeable, and super patient with a bunch of students. And so he always inspired me to just continue going. He never made me feel like I couldn't do it, So he always treats all of his students just amazingly, and very believed in. So I would say Chuy Guzman was a big mentor too, and he went to my senior recital in college, because I went to UCLA, Herb Alpert School of Music for university, and I studied ethnomusical, and for my senior recital, actually, I had Reinas and some Sol de Mexico players come in and back me up, and I did my senior recital concert, and he also went, and that meant a lot to me too. So, yeah.
That's Reyna and Eddie Lopez. Those two in my mariachi world. I do have some teachers that really impacted me, like my middle school director, Mr. Morel. I still stay in touch with him. He loves mariachi and always pushed me. But Hector Reyna is a phenomenal in Texas. He's the one that made it seem like it was possible for me to go down this track. I remember there's videos of me out there. I was real pocha in the trumpet playing language community. I don't know if you know what that means. I just sound like ta for trumpet players and audience. It was me playing my first year of mariachi, you didn't hear. And Hector really worked with me, and within 2 years I became obsessed. I got the opportunity to join this collegiate group, one of the phenomenal mariachi groups in UTRGV. Jose heard me when I was about 18, and honestly, I'm very blessed that Jose Maestro Hernandez was one of the biggest, the way Chuy Guzman was for her, that's what Maestro Hernandez was for me. I got a lesson with him at 19. We always stayed in touch, and I would always say, I want to get my degree first, and he always understood that. That's something to get your degree first. Always get your degree first and do things like that. And he even watched my senior recital. I remember I was nervous from all the way from here, and he like live streamed it, and he was like, look, I'm watching, and I was really scared. But it was, I was really happy that right before I went on stage, right here, I saw the video, but I don't know, I mean, it made me really happy that Jose kind of had that confianza in me, and I still stayed in love with mariachi after all these years, and with this bottle picked up, and I remember I always kind of sometimes, once in a while, comment on social media. Becca's been a great friend of mine for 6 years, but yeah, Jose and Hector, good man. And Eddie Lopez too. I'm pretty sure maybe you guys at one point in your life, if you ever gone to a music conference, you played one of his arrangements. He's incredible, but I'm sure they were just my biggest mentors. It would be Hector, Eddie, and Jose. And really pushed me, made me feel like I could go anywhere. And also friendships like this, they help you a lot to keep going forward.
Obviously, like, I went through the middle school program, the high school program. When I was in middle school, I started off with a teacher named Mr. Galante. He's been there. He was teaching there for many, many years. I mean, he taught my parents, and he's been there even since before that. It's been a while. I want to say maybe one of the more influential teachers in my life was my high school Mariachi director. His name's Mr. Nino. He teaches at Northside High School in Fort Worth, and he really was kind of the one that had a lot of faith in me. He gave me a lot of the tools that I needed to just kind of discover things on my own, learn how to. He gave me the freedom to start writing out parts on my own. I didn't really know how, but I kind of figured it out. He gave me that confidence to do that. And not only that, but he was very, very. He was very much there in the whole process of me going to the university. He drove my mom and I to my first orientation way down in the valley, which is like 7-8 hours away. And just always went above and beyond for me. Other teachers in my life, like Adolfo and Eddie, I do consider them like friends / teachers, because at one point, yeah, we did used to live together. I actually lived in the same apartment with Eddie when we first went to UTRGV, and he became one of my closest friends, and just introduced me to a whole other world of music that I had no clue about. So yeah, and then Adolfo, really intelligent musician, individual, very, very analytical, and he kind of taught me how to listen and analyze things in a deeper level. So.
Yeah. If you guys ever get the chance to go to these conferences, all three, Adolfo Estrada and Eddie Lopez, they're always teaching the advanced or master classes. So you guys ever get the opportunity to go out, pick their brains, get to know them, because they're incredible, knowledgeable people.
At what point did you guys realize music could become a career and something you wanted to pursue professionally?
For me, it wasn't ever something that I really dreamed of. It's sort of, it sort of just was an opportunity that happened, that came up, that sort of presented itself in my life, and it was a big surprise, really, in a lot of ways. And talking about mentors, the way that I entered Reyna was actually, I approached Jose Hernandez at a jam session. He was in an Albuquerque jam session, and another one of my mentors, he was a parent of just one of the students in the mariachi group that I was in at the time. But he was a really good trumpet player, and he used to play in some groups when he was younger. And he encouraged me to go up to Jose and just ask for an audition. He's like, go up, shake his hand, and tell him, hey, I'm Samantha Cabral. I live in Orange County. Do you have any auditions for Reyna? And I was really scared to do that. I didn't want to do that. I was only 18 at the time, and I literally was a senior in high school. I didn't feel like a professional trumpet player at all. I was in a student group at the time. But I just sort of, with his help and his pushing me, and I owe the mentor for doing that and pushing me to do that, because otherwise I wouldn't have been in Reyna. So I did, and then Jose asked me to send him some videos of me playing, and at the time I actually had a really good video of me, because I just auditioned for UCLA, so I had a movimiento from Los Camperos. So he really liked it, and then I started going to rehearsals with them, and then sort of just through being in Reyna, and in that way a lot of opportunities professionally up. So To answer your question, it wasn't, you asked it when I decided, was that the question, to do music professionally?
Yes, it was at what point did you realize music could become a career and something that you want to pursue?
Yeah. I think I realized that it could become a career as I entered Reyna, as I started to develop more, as I started to become like feel in the groove as like a lead trumpet, and then seeing the opportunities we were getting, like we weren't just we, especially when we went to the Latin Grammys. That's when I really started to like see like, oh, there is a whole, we are in the music industry. I guess in a lot of ways, being at the Latin Grammys, the nomination that we got for the Latin Grammy last year in at the end of 2025, that really opened my mind a lot, because I was meeting a lot of people, I was networking with other artists, I was like, my mind literally blew up. I was like, wow, I can. That's when I started actually my social media page, and I almost have 10K followers. So in a lot of ways, my mind expanded to see not only just music for music, but also like the business side of it. And if you can combine like marketing, and if you can combine smart about how to put yourself out there, how to network, like all of that is part of the music industry. That's when my mind sort of decided I can make this a professional career if I can learn to mix those two things together, the business and the music.
I wish I had that's a cool answer. Honestly, for me, I've been doing music since I was 6, so my first instrument was guitar, and my secondary instrument, I play drums at church. I'm a drummer, I've done that. When I was in middle school, I did not grow up being literate, I was broke. I did not come from, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have the most money, and I would use like probably crappy trumpet that my parents would rent monthly for like $25 a month. I never even got to own one. But I remember I loved it, and ever since I was in middle school, you're like, when or what made you? I just knew I needed to make a living off the trumpet, off of music. And like the thing, I started trumpet performance. I only teach trumpet. I didn't study music education. I bet you guys are great students, but teaching is not for me. I just like to teach trumpet, and that's it. But I remember when I was in middle school, I would always be like, okay, how many competition, become an all-state musician so I can get a full ride. When I was trying to do classical, so I can get into either Juilliard or New York or all these big schools in New York, right? And then I fell in love with Mariachi. I saw what Sol and Reyna were doing, like exactly what Sam was talking about, and I'm sure the places around the world he's gone with. So all the opportunities, just in the year alone, that I've been in Vegas, got to go to the Grammys, we got inducted into the California Hall of Fame, we did Coachella, and then just in 2 days we're going to be playing at the Hollywood Bowl. So we've been getting really excited about that, producing Speakers in Norte, and all these amazing artists. And for me, it's just like, for those of you guys that are considering to do music and you're like on the fence, but you love it, if you love it and you put in the time and the effort, your instrument will take you where you need to be. I come from a very small town in Texas. It's not even on the map, and somehow I made it over here. I don't know how, but I mean, I can't see myself doing anything else. Like, since I was a kid, I said it's all or nothing. Either I'm gonna make a living off the trumpet, or I don't know, maybe work at McDonald's or something, but to trumpet. So that's what it is for me. That's what it's always been since I was a kid.
Before I did anything with music, I was like, okay, I'm going to take medical courses. I'm going to be a doctor. And so like through middle school, that was still my focus. I love music, but I'm still going to take medical courses. And in high school, I was kind of like taking medical classes while I was doing mariachi thing, and it came a point where I had to make a commitment to one or the other, and just focus all my time in that. And I decided to do music. And to be honest, where I'm from, I had never had any idea that I was ever going to be in the bigger groups. Like varios and Camperos and Sol de Mexico and Mariachi Port and stuff like that, and they all seemed very far, very, very far. I never really saw a career out of it. I love to play, I love to practice, I love to learn, and I just kind of followed my heart, I guess, and went where I felt like I needed to go, which was, make the next step, which was like the UTRGV, and through there, with the opportunities that I got, I started to see people around me, like people in Sol that made careers out of this, even then, I still felt like it was just very far. I didn't feel like it was attainable. I didn't feel like it was feasible for me to ever have a career like that. Kept on doing my thing. I kept on studying what I needed to study and learning what I needed to learn, focusing on myself as much as possible. And yeah, like whenever you put that love into your instrument, good things come out, right? What you put into your instrument, eventually is what you're gonna get out of it. And yeah, I was really surprised and honored to be able to even be considered for a place like that. So it was very unexpected, but it ended up happening, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah, I think like to sum up like what the three of us said, we all kind of are. The message that I'm hearing here between us three is like, if you put into your work, into your instrument, you put your love into it, like opportunities will open up. Like it will help people. Like, and so as long as you sit in your room and you practice every day, you're getting better at your craft. It's gonna take you somewhere. Like that's not gonna be for nothing. Like you'll get opportunities.
Looking back at your younger self, what is something you wish you knew when you were first learning your instrument?
Oh, that's such a good question. Actually, no, that's a really good question. I'm really glad you guys asked that. One thing I would say is, so going back to what I said at the beginning, when I started playing trumpet, I felt like I was behind, right? And I sort of decided, I made the judgment. I was like, okay, what is the first thing that I need to work on in terms of technique? Like in terms of music and you're learning an instrument, there's like reading music, there's like your tone, there's all sort of things that you could folk improv or learning how to, or just memorizing music and memorizing pieces. So I decided to first and foremost get a good sound. And I thought, look, if people hear me and I sound good, then in a way I'm like faking it until I make it. I mean, it was good. It wasn't like anything I regret, like developing the sound that I have on trumpet. But if I were to go back, I would tell my former self, you should learn to read music, because like that is biting me in the butt, so to speak, like right now. As I sort of neglected that a little bit, and I sort of got away with it because in the mariachi world, you can learn a lot of things by ear, and I did. And when I started playing, are we still here?
I think
Something else.
Oh, they're back.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So as I was saying, that's what I would tell myself, is to I sort of skipped a very important piece of fundamentals, which is to read music. And I think that's kind of tends to be a problem in the mariachi world. There aren't too many, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I mean, there's maybe a good handful or a good group of people that can really read music really, really well, and I mean sight read. And being able to walk into a studio and just have a piece of music put in front of you that you've never seen before and play it clean, like that's a really hard thing to find in mariachis, and it should more, and it's expected for a lot of for professional mariachis. So that's just something that I would tell my former self to focus a lot more on, because it would have taken away a lot of struggle for me and a lot of shame and a lot of embarrassment, if I'm being honest, like as a more developed musician, to sort of struggle with that, when you're in a. So don't think that I don't need it. You do need it. You do need to learn to read music. It's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with her. I mean, one of the biggest reasons I fell in love with was just the school of Jose Hernandez's teaching. It's just because I remember I went to a master class and he just showed up and played like the craziest stuff, like fancy stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy can read, who is this? And then I go and Google him and see all these incredible things that he's done. But outside of the technique, yes, learn every single thing about your instrument, just to go off of that, your ins, outs, what you need. In general, as musicians, there's something called fundamentals, which are certain things. It's like a house, right? When you build a house, you can't build a house without a foundation. Like you can have it modern, you want to have it like dollhouse style, like Spanish, that's fine. And I consider that your style, your voice. But at the root of it all, there's a foundation. And something, I get it. I was your age once, I'm pretty sure, like I don't know, I feel like every musician wants to play cascabel for whatever reason. All the solos, all the trumpets, or just like, yeah, I can play this, like, yeah. Well, before, when you were born, you didn't come out of the womb running, right? You come out not even walking, right? Like there's, I mean, I hope none of you guys came out walking straight out the womb, but yeah, I mean, there's there's an order for things, and it's the same, it's the same thing with your instrument, right? They're like probably so tired of me. Ooh, there's an order, and right now that you guys have a great instructor, you guys have these resources, learn the foundations of your instrument, learn walk, crawl, and then when the time comes, you'll be able to run, and then you start running marathons. And on the mental aspect is comparison is the thief of joy. I know it's so cool to go watch these concerts and see, sometimes you have some compañeros that are doing better. Don't see it as better, it's just we all have our own journey. Everything I could tell myself, believe it or not, I was going to quit music last year, like my senior year I was failing auditions left and right. And I would just be like, I'm never gonna get anywhere. And right when I was about to put the horn down, I started on this internet, this calls me, just an incredible opportunity to just go and audition. And and it worked out, by the grace of God, I'm here, everything works out. So, if I could go back, for those of you kids that are like really hard on yourselves, because I have students that are like your age, and they're always like, it's so suck. Like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Oh man, I want to try to grito, but I'm afraid, like, what if I sound like a chicken? Just weird things. Take the risks. You are young. Take the risks. Try new things, and don't compare yourselves to others, because I'm sure there's an embarrassing video. There is for sure. There's a lot, and we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're here, and we all got to start somewhere. So that's probably my best advice that I would give to you guys. So you guys are laughing. You guys got some embarrassing videos or what? They're like, oh, I can't say.
Yeah.
What is something you would tell your younger self?
I just wish I would have started earlier. Honestly, not just with the instrument, not necessarily just instrument, but listening to music like way earlier age. Because I would listen to music, but not nearly as much as when I fell in love with music, which is a long time. But I feel like I was behind. I did, read as well as I could. I did, make an effort to sing, as much as I could, and just kind of put myself out there. And for the most part, I have a regular ear. I can pick up on certain things, but I feel like if I would have started listening to music a little bit earlier, on a deeper level, my ear would be a little bit more advanced than it is right now. And that's something that I'm trying to work on now, but it's difficult. It's difficult. Takes a little bit of extra brain power to just kind of like. But yeah, I mean that's everybody has their own path, right? Yeah. Everybody starts at a different time, but I do feel like if I would have listened to music a little bit earlier, maybe I would be a little bit farther.
So, is there a performance or experience with Mariachi Reinas or Mariachi Sol de Mexico that has been especially meaningful to you?
There's definitely been a lot of performances. I don't know. I think like this upcoming one at the Hollywood Bowl, like that's a huge accomplishment to be able to. And I've never played at the Hollywood Bowl. Like even artists that are well-established artists that for a really long time, and the day that they get to perform at the Hollywood Bowl is still like really huge for them. But in terms of like one that's already happened, I don't know. I would say this isn't a performance, but it was a Mariachi Reyna event of being nominated like at the Latin Grammys. Again, for me personally, I know I already brought that up, but that was really huge for me because I know some of the girls in the group, they were here for the first nomination. I wasn't, so this was the first time that I had ever got, and I really felt that I contributed to that nomination because I played on the album, all the lead parts, the album that got nominated. So my award or our award, but like you get what I mean, like that I played a part in it. So that was a really, I would say, like meaningful, and it was huge for me. It meant a lot to me. That was probably one of the biggest ones, I think, for me.
So for me, yes, like obviously, right, Coachella and things like that. It's crazy, it's amazing. But for me, believe it or not, for me, it's kind of like the best performance for me has been in Albuquerque because That's where Jose first heard me, and it was like a full circle moment for me. And it's like I was able, for me, going back on that stage, not only as a as a headliner, it was like I was able to tell my younger self, like, hey, you made it. Like, you came back to that stage as a performing, like the headlining act. Because when I was there, I mean, we were kids. That's where I met her. We were kids, and I played at my senior year. I played with the group, and I remember she comes up to me, "What's your name? Oh my gosh, you played so great! Like, you know, you played so great." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from here." Genuinely, really, where I'm from, the arts is not. It's growing, but the arts is, you know, anybody that gets out of there's like this stigma. When they get out of there, it's like you either, it's rare. My parents, it was their first time coming to see me play with Reyna ever. They drove 20 hours to come see me. And for me, I was just like, if I could tell my younger self, especially all those years in college, you know, I can tell you, we probably all cried in college or like trying to make it over here and stuff, you know. I'm sure you guys, you know, I would cry in high school too. And it was just like, it was like I paid back like a debt to myself for all the sacrifice, all the hard work that I've done. I was able, that performance for me, and that was recently, that was last month. That's been like the biggest, like, you know, same thing. And I would say seeing our picture, you know, when we got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I just started crying. I was like, there's no way that's me. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. I want to see them all. I was like, let's go. But yeah, that's pretty cool too.
As far as performances, I can think of two that were really, really meaningful to me. The first was, I want to say, maybe the second year or third year that I was in Sol. We went to the Latin Grammys, and we were Vicente, Alejandro, and Alejandro's son, Alex Hernandez. We were able to accompany the three generations, and for me, that was really impactful, because some of the first mariachi recordings that I ever heard were the older discos of Vicente, like you know, La Ley del Monte, and you know, those older recordings of Vicente, and that was my introduction to mariachi music. He was very, very much my introduction to mariachi music, and so to be able to accompany him was, I remember at that time, the way that I am, I just focus in on what I'm doing, because I'm so locked in to be able to, I have to do the job. I have to do my job first, and like half of that whole thing, the rehearsal, kind of make sure that I come in on this part, because I'm so focused on that. And then when the actual performance came, I was locked in, and I looked up, and that's when it kind of hit me, the moment where I was like, well, I'm actually on the stage with these people that I've you know, listened to almost, and it was a really, really beautiful moment. So that would be one. The second one would be so in Fort Worth, where I'm from, when I was a kid growing up, we never really went to it. So the only maybe big group that had come to Fort Worth was Vargas when I was in high school, and I only got to see one concert of Vargas. So we performed with the TCU Symphony Orchestra in, I want to say 2022 or 2023, and for me that was a really, really big deal, because not only was I able to go back home and play, you know, with the group that I love, you know, where I grew up, and have all my family and friends. But you know, it was such a beautiful concert, because it was not only our set, but it was also the symphony orchestra music that we recorded. I don't know if you've ever heard the Sol de Mexico, the La Música album. It's you know, recorded with the symphony orchestra, and like really, really beautiful music in the place that I love, with the people that I love. And it was just really, really nice. I got to, you know, my mom was proud, my dad was proud, my whole family. It was just like, afterwards, it was really kind of, you know, like Yamila said, it's kind of like a full circle moment, right?
So Ms. Cabral, you are not only a professional performer, but also a teacher. What inspired you to become an educator?
Okay. You want the honest answer? I'm gonna just be very real with you guys right now. So the honest answer is, being a musician, it can be financially really challenging. So I also was just kind of looking, and this is really the reality if you're gonna get into becoming a musician, is like a lot of the musicians in Mariachi Reinas, they have other jobs. They have other jobs that they do during the day or during the week. Some of them are full-time musicians. Some of them are like mariachi instructors during the week, and then all they do is music. For me personally, I love teaching. I found it because I started doing a substitute teaching job with middle school, and then I sort of fell in love with it, and I sort of discovered, hey, you know, the students listen to me, and I sort of realized that I had a natural way of working with the younger students. So I ended up deciding, okay, I'm gonna get my teaching credential. I could have done it in music, but kind of like my compañera Yamila was saying, I never wanted to be a band teacher. I never really wanted to teach orchestra or, you know, marching band. I always really just wanted to teach mariachi. And looking back, I still am thinking about, you know, maybe going back and getting a teaching credential. I don't know if it'll, you know, it's something I'm still navigating through, but I did it because, you know, needed to like make it. Also, I do enjoy it as well. So I love inspiring students, whether it's literally with writing or literacy or writing was always something that I was really good at in school. I always got like A+ on my papers, and I always was really good in English class. And I really like analyzing things. So that's something that comes easy to me and natural to me. So it was something that I could see myself teaching. And it's really not hard for me. So, and since teaching is kind of a natural thing that I have, I just decided to teach English. And when I do teach music as well, it's very similar because sort of the way that I like manage the classroom is similar. It's the same age group. But just related to music content too, which is also what I love. So I've also found that when I am in certain periods where I'm teaching music a lot, it helps me become a better performer, because in a lot of ways I hear my own advice in my head that I told my students earlier, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that. I should breathe, you know, before I come in, like, you know, and little things like that that I sort of drill to the students.
To add on to that, so this is so cool. I teach, but teaching found me the complete other way. Samantha, which is, I'm hearing her, I'm like, wow. So I teach at a nonprofit. He teaches at a nonprofit, as well with the Heritage Society. And for me, I never thought that I would teach because I'm so like obsessed about trumpet that like if somebody doesn't, I love teaching. I love teaching students that want to learn. That's just the reality of what I come from that, because when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with trumpet. I taught this year, and like she's right, a bunch of reinas. That's something that's also really cool, that you guys want to continue music, and you're like, it's not really a German thing. We have a speech, what is Romina do?
Yeah, so one of our compañeras, she's a speech pathologist, so she does that during the week, and on the weekends she's a musician. It's very compatible to do even a professional musician career and have another career. Like you can have two careers at the same time. I do. A lot of us do. So
just throwing it, just throwing it out there, right?
Everything is possible, like, and if you work hard.
Yeah, and I like she said, I'm one of those that does music full time. So I teach just only trumpet to beginners, all levels, and then I have a few students that I give private lessons to. But honestly, if you guys are looking to maybe teaching or greatest, or whoever sent that question, like she said, it's just a very rewarding job. And for me, I love it. Now I teach my group right now. I have a group that I teach, run with another director, a few other directors, but it's just very rewarding. Whether it was music, English, I'm sure we've all had one teacher. I hope you guys haven't, but I think we'd have, that you could tell they didn't really enjoy their job, right? And you would be like, oh, yeah, right, you guys are like, yeah. But then you have that one teacher that changed your vocal director, that he loved trumpet so much that it helped me become so obsessed with it that I decided from the age of 13 that I was going to do music. I mean, 12 that I was going to do music. So for me, it's like, I'm sure for my compañeros, it's like being a teacher gives us the opportunity to plant the seed in so many other younger musicians. You know, especially there's, you know, unfortunately, just like with anything, there's bad teachers out there, right? That sometimes can either discourage us, make us not feel something. But I guess what inspires, I know her and I have talked about this quite a bit with teaching and things like that, is just knowing that we can progress in other people's lives, which is something very, very beautiful.
You know, I had mentioned my teacher that inspired me. Probably one of my bigger influences. Very, very huge reason of why I'm here, where I am now, was my high school director, and I never really saw myself as a teacher. I always kind of saw myself a little bit more as a performer. But, being in this group, also being in Aslan, when I was in college, we do have the opportunity to teach students from middle school, elementary school, high school level, and sometimes you just see the impact that you have on another student. One thing that you say makes it click in their heads. Like, oh, you know what? I've never thought about this. This makes a lot of sense. It's so much easier to connect these two dots right here. And that was such a gratifying feeling that not only do we give clinics and we go to conferences and teach and stuff like that, but like she was mentioning, we have a nonprofit where we teach several schools in several different districts here in LA, Orange County. And when I joined the option of teaching at one of those schools, I was like, yeah, you know what? That feeling, I really do strive to become the teacher that I had. That teacher that inspired me to do music. Not only that, but just went above it. And that's what I want to give somebody else. That's the teacher that I want to be for somebody else.
And what advice would you give students who struggle with confidence and making mistakes, or feeling like they're not improving fast enough?
I actually saw someone recently who shared this with me. He said that in his life came from putting something, an event or something that you're doing, on a pedestal, and a lot of the freedom that this guy shared with me, that he has been able to, by him not necessarily putting something on such a big pedestal, and just really doing something for fun, and just like applying for jobs for fun, trying out that thing for fun, just to see where it takes you. A lot of the unnecessary pressure. And I remember I used to get anxiety attacks when I first started performing on stage when I was in middle school, and it was so bad that I would just at the thought of, let's say I had this later on in the day, like in the evening, but it was like 10 a.m. I distinctly remember one time I was just walking in the mall and I had to and lay down and literally like lay down on the floor because I was getting anxiety attack just at the thought, and not even intentionally. It was just in the back of my mind. Like I didn't even realize that I was thinking about it, but I was thinking about performing. And the secret for me came was about myself, because when I started thinking about the music, and as one of my piano teachers from university at UCLA said, he said music is gonna happen with or without you. And I loved that. He's like, it's gonna happen. You can join in, or you could just, or what? So that in a way kind of takes away a lot of the, I think, unnecessary stress and pressure. So again, I would say for someone who's like starting out or who's struggling with like confidence and things like that, but think about putting on a show that you would want to see in the audience, because if you're insecure and if you're scared, the audience is going to feel that. So I always think like it's about getting out of yourself. For me, that was the key, because the moment that I stopped thinking about people thinking about me and I started thinking about the music, and I just thought, I'm in my room, just me playing these notes like I've practiced them before, that helped incredibly. And then believing that you have to, if you repeat something enough, because your brain actually doesn't care if the thoughts that you put in there are necessarily right or wrong. So if you are repeating something enough, you kind of start to believe. What I started doing is really telling myself, like, I can do this. I have done it. I've done it alone in my room, so I can do it. And repeating that, and then but you kind of have to give that to yourself. People can help you, but you have to believe it yourself. So yeah, telling yourself that you can. Obviously putting in the work before, like practicing something that you can.
Well, I think Samantha, mine is an answer. I wish she pretty much covered everything, at least the mental aspect of it. I follow this rule. If your practice is a 8 out of 10, your performance is going to be like a 5 out of 10. You need to practice like a 10 out of 10. But at the same time, what gives me confidence, it's like, like we know how to, the best metaphor is if somebody says, like, if you're, let's say you're 6 feet tall, and someone's like, you can't touch like the top shelf. I know I can touch the top shelf because I don't know. You know how to do it. Like it's you. So it's just like when you practice, it's like us that we do shows. I make sure that I can play my stuff, and Samantha, she just helps guide we can do it well. If you practice like how not giving only half of your effort, you're gonna get half of that effort on stage. So practice the way that you want to perform. Mentally, you want more confidence, fake it till you make it, baby. Sometimes you just gotta fake it till you make it. You know how many times we still get nervous? We all do. And I have my students, they're like, Miss Rosa, you're in the big league, so you don't get it. I'm like, I still get it. Are you kidding me? I still have critics. We still have critics. It doesn't matter. No matter what platform, what level of musicianship, you have someone that doesn't like what you do. That's just it. That's just it. And it doesn't mean that you suck. It just means that you're just not what either they're looking for. Those of you that are getting ready for auditions, it's not what they're looking for at the moment, but it doesn't mean that you suck. And take every risk possible. Especially now that you're young and you guys are still gonna go through college or wherever you guys decide to do after. When you get a no, the world doesn't end. That literally, the world doesn't end. Okay, you want to sing. I don't know, what if I mess up? Well, try again next time and maybe you can sing. You want to get into a school, try again next time. That is the beauty, that every day you guys wake up being able to breathe, that's another chance to try again. All the time. And that every day that you wake up, you get to try again. You get to reinvent yourself. You get to come back from maybe a failure or something that you did. And I think that's what gives you more confidence. It's knowing, that's the one thing that I admire about Samantha, is that she just like takes risks. She told me, she was like, I'm gonna start an Instagram page. I kind of want to do it. I want to start posting more content. Her videos get like hundreds of thousands of views. Some of them have gotten millions because of that. She's getting all these crazy opportunities that she hasn't felt, you know, when the time comes and she posts them, you guys will see. But okay, if people tell her no, she's like, okay, it happens. Next one, you go again. And you keep trying, and you keep trying, and you keep trying. That's how you get confidence. Don't be afraid of failure. Most of the time, the failures are just a no. It's just reject. That's it. Boo-hoo. Next one. Try.
Yeah, the way I think about it is like you're gonna go where you're supposed to go. So if a door closes, that just means like there's another place that's meant for you. One thing that like really shaped me, if I'm gonna like, you know, sort of speak vulnerably on this topic. When I was in college, I got rejected from UCLA twice to be in the music. Yeah, the trumpet performance major. I really, really wanted to play like classical music and get a trumpet performance degree. They rejected me not just the second year, also that I came back and I showed face again after being rejected. You know how hard that was, you know, to come back again to the same people. And I know that I played well. But again, they didn't take me because I couldn't really read music very well. So that's going to kind of be like one of your other questions. But going back to your original question, it depends on like kind of where you are in your musical journey. We all feel nervousness or fear. At the beginning, you can call it nervousness, fear. Once you reach a certain level, I would say it's pressure to perform and reach an expectation from other people that they expect from you. But it's always there, even the top, and if you ever hear of a musician that tells you that they don't, they're lying. That they at least, when you're at a top level, it may not feel like fear, or they might not want to call it fear, but top trumpet players, top musicians still feel a lot of pressure to perform at a very high level. So yeah.
For people that are having stage anxiety or performance anxiety, I think the best thing is to know exactly what you're going to go in playing, right? So most of the time we don't just jump on a stage and we have no idea what we're playing. Well, if you're nervous about it, if you feel like you get that performance anxiety, the best thing that you could do for yourself is just go home and practice it until you can't get it wrong, right? I heard somebody say one time, practice makes it permanent. And like if you practice something the way that you need to be practicing it, it's good. That's the way that it's going to come out in the performance, right? Obviously, you know, when the anxiety hits, we get a little bit, you know, nervous. Our hands don't do what they want, you know, or they don't respond the way that we want them to. You know, the tonguing could be, you know, whatever. But like the bones are there and the structure is there. Regardless, like it's gonna happen, right? It's also important to remember that no matter what kind of performance you give, like you're gonna go home, you're gonna wake up, and it's gonna be a new day, right?
Yeah.
And like tomorrow's gonna come all the same. So so yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of like going out there, bearing yourself, which can be a very, very difficult thing to do, and leave it all on stage. And that's what the best musicians do. That's what the highest level musicians do. Hernandez, whether it be Arturo Sandoval, whether it be Gustavo Dudamel, all of those musicians, they bear everything. They give everything. They leave it all on stage for you. Whether however good, however bad it is, they just leave it all there. And that's for whatever performer, that's kind of what we have to do.
And I will say, it does get better over time. Like you do get to a point where, for example, like I'm not as nervous as I was. I don't, used to start playing music. Like I don't get anxiety attacks anymore. I still get a little nervous or I still feel pressure, but it's not the same. So it does get better over time. You do build confidence just by doing it, just by, being on stage. So continuously, it does, it builds your confidence because you have them.
Yeah, if you guys, I don't know how many kids are in there, right? Or you ladies, if you guys yourselves are considering going on the performance, just do it. A professor one thing I took from university said, like, if you're a performer, you want to be get easier. And something that Pepe said that he's told me, he's given me this is like some of the best advice he's ever given me. Only focus on what you can control. Let's say you have a show and your compañera or something, she's like, oh, I didn't memorize, or your compañera is like, oh, my string pop. You're on a stage. Can you control that? Can you control how she feels? Can you control what happens to your compañero's instrument? Can you control if they practice or not? You can't. Focus on what you can do and what you bring to the table. And then from there, you let your consistency spark the curiosity in others. Man, she's getting good. She's getting so good. What is she doing? I don't know, she's just minding her business and practicing and doing what she needs to do and focus on what you can control. And I guess, honestly, Samantha and I think we've been such great influences on each other. So for me, I'm into this whole style thing. And I play mariachi, right? But Jose has this way of going. For me, sight reading is my strongest thing, right? So guess what? We try to get together often and practice. So just that builds confidence too, So that was a long question response for all of us. I hope we didn't. Yeah, it's how you get confidence, guys. But there's a bug. Just gave
I have to go home.
I like to bring this up a lot because I feel like it's really important, and I believe it's what Pepe was trying to say. But like our director loves to say, is practice makes perfect, but perfect never happens. So always practice. I just felt like that was important to bring up. But back to the questions. Mariachi Reinas has inspired so many young women, and Mariachi Sol de Mexico has also inspired many young men. So what does it mean to be part of that legacy?
Along the same vein of what we were saying, it is a lot of pressure because you do carry, you are entering into a legacy. You are entering into something that's greater than yourself, and there is a lot of responsibility that comes with that. So you do feel that weight for sure, but at the same time, it's a privilege because so many people, and I always think about this, so many people would kill to be in my spot, to learn from Jose Hernandez, especially as a trumpet player. And I try to remember that always and not get too comfortable in my seat, in my spot here in Reyna, because I could just never end learning from Jose, you know what I mean? And it's so awesome that I get, in a way, like, from him all the time, little things about style or about articulation. It's amazing. So it's a privilege and it's also a responsibility. So it feels really great to feel when you, and it took me a while, obviously, when I entered, I didn't feel like this, but after a couple years, you get to a point where you feel like you are carrying the legacy, and to feel that is incredible. To feel like you're actually meeting the standard and you're carrying it forward, incredible, because like you're making history at that point. And you're gonna go down in the names of lists of the people in Mariachi Sol de Mexico and the people in Reyna, and there's only a limited like list of names that have made that, you know. So
especially as trumpet players, I think for 10, since 1994, maybe 10, 12.
trumpets, yeah.
I'm so incredibly honored to be able to join. For me, I feel like the responsibility, for me it's different because, well, sit with me, I would empowering young girls because they empowered me, myself, when I heard all the records. I was like, wow, this is incredible. It's an honor to, learn from Jose. But for me, I feel like for a while, my first like 6 months here, they were a bit tough. She knows, they know. I was just so focused on the music, but then I started seeing like the people that would come up to us after shows, my students. Oh my gosh, miss, you're actually cool. My kids are so brutal. I remember I went to a conference that we went and I was like, my students were like, can I get your autograph? You're actually somebody. I'm like, wow, like, thank you. And I do it for my students, right? They're like, there's so many people that want pictures of you, man. I guess you're kind of cool. And I'm like, thank you, ? Right? But it's responsibility as a teacher. I want our kids to feel very proud to learn from me. I'm sure we all feel that, but too, it's like, all of our families, I'm sure a good chunk of us that do Mariachi were Hispanics. The first set are our parents that came over here, and they made the way for us. For me, personally, being in Reyna's, it has given me a platform to carry I carry my family with me on my back. I wear my heart on my sleeve. My unfortunate mother and my grandma, the two people that love this music the most, they ever got to see me join Reyna, but I carry them with me every time here, all the time. My dad, who's a great singer, my uncles, I carry them with me every stage that I go. And knowing that, and I'm sure all of our parents, mom and dad, whether, sometimes we butt heads with them, mom and dad have given us everything. I hope, that we have. Sacrifice made us, God is here. And for me, that's my pressure, is that I don't want to let my dad made for me to get here go to waste. Every time I pick up the horn, this is why I practice. One, I obviously love it. We love it. Me and Sam geek about trumpet all the time. We love it. We love it so much, but the pressure. Now, that's why I was telling you guys, take the risks, because you're a student, so it's okay. That is a time. Here you cannot. I'm not gonna go on stage. If we play a wrong note, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a regañada or plática after, right?
Yeah.
Now the stakes are higher.
Because you have the legacy that
you have to carry. So right now, guys, take the
mess up right now. You're a student, you can mess up.
Like Peter was saying, you're gonna wake up the next day and eat the same school breakfast, and the same school lunch. You're gonna see homeboy first, nothing's gonna change. So just do it.
Yeah.
Right? And get ready, because whether you go and join a bigger group and take the route that we did, or you guys want to impact your community, whatever you do, you're gonna have a legacy. You're gonna leave a legacy behind. And you're going to make all proud, and you're gonna do great, whatever you end up with. But for me, we both, like she was saying, being in Reyna's, it's just there's so much more. Then we play really cool music. But there's just so much more than that, that we do, and it's a big legacy that we carry. Yeah.
So joining Sol de Mexico was a huge honor and a huge responsibility. I understood that from the very, very first day. I really took it seriously, and I still take it seriously. I have to make sure that I'm at my best. I'm at my best every time I go on stage. I can't go on stage cold. I have to warm up. I have to do whatever is necessary, whatever I have to do to execute, to perform at a high level. And nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Jose's not perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect. Nobody in the music industry is perfect. Your favorite artists are not perfect. The objective is to always be at the highest level that you can be, to be able to perform at your peak, at your highest level. Everything, like I said before, give everything on stage. You leave it all there. Don't leave any stone unturned. You don't hold anything for yourself. You just give everything right there on stage. And it's a big responsibility. Sol de Mexico, even before I joined 40 years, it's been around before I ever joined. And you have this huge line of incredible musicians now, being in the group, you're in that same vein, right? and that's huge. That's actually very scary. That's actually very, very. So I think Yamila had made a comment about that what is the comparison is the thief of joy. So it's important to not compare yourself to everybody. Learn from everybody that you can, right? But you have to understand that you're your own person, you're your own individual, you're your own musician with your own trajectory, your own ability to get where you are. And I'm not people that came before me. I'm only me, but I have to give the best that I can. I have to give the absolute best that I can. Otherwise, I honestly am for being where I am if I'm not giving everything. So yeah, and then it's just along with that comes like the professionalism, the making sure that you're that you're clean cut, that you are things that you would never really think of, not really being in the group. But all of those things are very, very important because all of those little details inspire the younger generations, right? They're the things that I do hopefully will inspire the next generation of Sol and the person that comes after me. And so yeah, it's a really, really big honor, but it's also a huge responsibility, and it's important that all of us we take it very, very seriously.
Well, Yamila, about what you said, it would be really nice to practice and play without getting a regañada, but unfortunately we also get our own regañada. So yeah, I just thought we should add that in. But yeah, I guess getting our
Your teacher's all like, he's like,
getting your own regañada is a part of it, and it's a process of learning. And I guess it's kind of like a wake-up call to just keep practicing, and we're trying harder. But how do you switch from style to style? Since I know like some people do jazz, concert band, and like mariachi. Like, how do you guys think it's like? How can you switch like without it confusing you? Like from going from different music genres.
so listening. So it's like for me, so I'm sure some of you guys speak Spanish. It's about thinking of it as a different language. Okay, sometimes some are better than others. Spanish when it comes to trumpet playing. Mariachi now is becoming my main language now in trumpet playing. But she could tell you sometimes or like not that aggressive enough because for the last 4 years I've been studying another language, which is orchestral and jazz playing. So the best thing that really has helped me, because she can tell you, and you hear some of the records of Sol, Jose, the best example I can be like the solo in Contigo Aprendí. If you guys listen to that trumpet solo, then a flute comes in, it's tone changes. And there it's like you hear the switch of style. How do I do that? I'm not Jose Hernandez, unfortunately, but for me, again, it's thinking about it as a language. It's like when we get boleros, one of the things that Jose always tells us is play with conviction. What that means, it's like I see the lyrics. Okay, sometimes we'll get stuff that he's like, I want us, and he'll tell us, I want to hear like do that, like that's swinging, and we'll work on that. You won't move on. It can be 2 notes, and we'll be there. And so that's like the way that it sounds. And it's just like being familiar enough with every language. It's like I always say, trumpet playing and the articulations is the language for a trumpet player. So it's like having the tools in your bag. If I let's say I need to go build a house, but I only have a hammer, I'm not gonna build anything. But guess what? If I have some nails, I got some bricks. I don't know. Some bricks, some nails, and some bricks. I don't know what I'm building, right? But if I have the tools, then I can just take them out and boom, boom, boom. So again, it goes back to what we were talking about. You need to prepare, right? So switching styles, it's like for me right now, but I practice my Spanish enough. Like if I go into a room and you guys are talking to me in Spanish, pues voy a comenzar a hablar en español, right? I'm gonna start talking in Spanish. It's the same thing with trumpet. Really get familiar, learn the basics. You don't have to be the best at jazz, right? I'm not the best at jazz. I did big band for about for a few. Just getting proficient enough. proficient enough to be able to, okay, I need to speak this language today. Oh, I need to speak this one today. Oh, this part of the music is asking for this language, and then I'm gonna go back and translate. And I think a big part of playing, it's like metaphors. For me, if I can visualize what I'm doing, it clicks. Everybody has a different way of learning. I use a lot of metaphors. So for me, I'm like, okay, I just need to speak this language today. This is what this song is asking for. It's asking for this. It's asking for that. So that's how I think. I was your age. Oh my gosh, I would struggle so much. I would literally cry because in my first 2 years of college, I was like, oh. It's like I would go into mariachi and I'd be like, you're playing everything too long. And then I'd come back from a mariachi rehearsal to go to a lesson, and my instructor would be like, this is not like, we'd be like, what are you doing? So I would cry. I had to deal with that. But then when I watched this masterclass of a phenomenal trumpet player named Caleb Hudson in the classic world, play everything incredible. And he just said, it's just a language. The moment you just take away that pressure and realize I'm just talking a different switch turns on and off. But then again, having the foundation, your fundamentals. That is key tip. There's a mental music, there's the technique aspect and the mental. And being able to play where you should, it's just them meeting right in the middle. Hope that answered and that's kind of clear about that.
Drop mic. That's it. Good. I couldn't add more to that. That's great.
That is all the questions we have today. So we just want to say a really huge thank you to all of you guys for spending the time to be here and dedicating to music education and just mariachi. Like, thank you for inspiring us and other young people or older people. We just really appreciate what you guys do, and you guys are amazing, and I'm so happy I get to talk to you guys, and I think it's just it's really cool what you guys do. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your guys' stories and encouraging the new generation of musicians to not give up and to just keep working harder. And we're really honored to be able to take some of your guys' time and have this one-on-one talk with you guys that will very soon be able to share with other students who are interested in being mariachi or other students who may not be in mariachi but are considering it. So thank you so much, Pepe, Yamila, and Miss Cabral. Yes, we want to give you a huge thank you, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on here with us and talking with us and answering our questions.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. And follow me on Instagram. Please Sam Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
plays
will.
trumpet. That's so funny. And make sure you follow Reyna's and Sol.
Yes,
There you go.
we will.
That's most important. Make sure you follow her.
Will you guys
And
follow
come
us
visit
back?
us. Yeah. Come visit. Come watch us play.
Casa de la Gracia.